Thanks for staying with us. Let's now take you through the front pages of Nigerian newspapers to see what the headlines are this Wednesday morning, and we will return with some analysis of the headlines we will be seeing here today. The Nation leads the way this morning on a conversation on economy. Now, look at this. It seems like some great good news in the country thus far. I'm trying to look for where the Nation newspaper is. There it is. Oil giant Petrobras returned to key gain of Tinubu's Brazil visit. The president is doing some very important rounds across the country, and we are seeing that about that. But let's move to some educational matters right about now. The Nigerian News Direct is shining the spotlight on the planned ASU strike. Pay our withheld salaries and not loans. They are saying this, and the Leadership newspaper is also speaking in that line. Varsity lecturers protest across campuses. I'm wondering how that would really look like, but that doesn't look good at all for us. Minister of Education, you need to jump in on this. The Punch newspaper shifts to politics this morning, ladies and gentlemen. 2027 PDP ticket zoning to South splits North. Okay, we'll talk exactly how that splitting is taking place, and we go over to Osun politics as we see right here on the Tribune newspaper. Osun takes federal government to Supreme Court over withheld local government allocations. We'll tell you exactly what is really going on there. But also the Platform Times is looking at that as well this morning. Osun King backs 56-month jail in America for COVID relief fraud. We'll let you to know what the rider is when we come back for the analysis. Let's now go to the incident that happened yesterday along Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, the train mishap on this Nigeria this morning, where we see here derailment. Abuja-Kaduna train services suspended indefinitely. That did not look good at all, but we'll talk a bit about that as we go to the Guardian newspaper this morning, talking about import. Over 5,000 cargoes trapped at ports amid 2 trillion naira demurrage losses. That is a whole lot of money to be lost in that might. But let's talk security. And the Daily Times is shining the spotlight on this one right here. We see on the table here, NSA hands over 128 rescued kidnapped victims to Zamfara government. That is not looking good at all. And the Blueprint newspaper is where we are going to right about now. No hiding place for criminals terrorizing Nigerian citizens. This is quoting the NSA Ribadu. And finally, the Sporting Life, where we always hang the curtains. We see right here, Nwabali injured, stretched off. That is not so good. This happened, during Nigeria versus Rwanda and South Africa games. But Ibrahim, let's talk economy. The gains of the president's visit to Brazil. We're hearing more and more of that coming out now. What do you think? Yes.
So beyond agriculture, beyond aviation, cultural exchange, tourism, and all of that is the return of Petrobras that will be returning to the country, which left in 2020, due to some issues and all of that. So they'll be back to the country for oil exploration from our deep waters. But if that is something that we are really excited about, we should also think of the legal frameworks, understand, cross the I's and the T's in helping the country, because wherever you see exploration, we know the impact on the Nigerian soil, we know the impact on the Nigerian citizens, the ecosystem, if it is not done the proper way. So I guess all the mistakes we've done in the past, we should try to work around it and resolve some of the bottlenecks which the president has tried to achieve. They actually made very important gains back in the day. I talk about over 1.4 $4-5 billion, from the 2020 asset sale, when they left. But they've made a whole lot, and Nigeria has actually gained. So it should be I don't want to say quid pro quo. So you do for me, I do for you. So it's not about you coming down to the country, making monies, and then we are not gaining from it. But I believe this time around, it's going to be done rightly. And
just to add to what Ibrahim has said, I'm very excited about the direct flights. I spoke about it yesterday. And we're hearing that Airpeace, our very own Airpeace, maybe this carrier for, the direct flights from Brazil, which is good. We can, Nigeria first. It's beautiful to see how, Nigeria is taking center stage at this point.
Airpeace always knows how to jump in on opportunities.
And
like
I love it for them, actually,
and
Mr. Allen.
To them,
exactly.
Really. But let me take you, Rhea, to the news direct this morning, talking about ASU's planned strike. ASU protests sweep varsities nationwide, warn of looming strike over withheld salaries and failed agreements. They are saying the government didn't keep to the bargain.
Why would you not keep to the bargain? So why won't you keep to the bargain? Agreement is agreement. And I feel like sometimes we do not understand the importance of ASU. If they go on strike, the students suffer. The collateral damage when they go on strike is not even a joke. I wonder why these people will even be delayed salaries. We've spoken about how education is very pivotal in any economy, and Nigeria, of course. So it bothers me. I worry. Yesterday I was telling you about the salaries. Some of these lecturers, the salaries are so bad that sometimes you wonder, why would they not even want to do corruption? Which I'm not saying that, because you don't have, you should do corruption. But sometimes, hunger will push you to do that. And now with this strike that ASU is threatening, they seem not to be backing off, and they seem to be very, very serious because it's across all varsities. So I feel like this is high time for the government to listen to their plea, listen to their cry, increase their salaries. They really need it. Education is very important. And to think that a lot of people even leave Nigeria because of these strikes. A lot of people don't even want to school in Nigeria because of these strikes.
Exactly. And Ibrahim, the rider, which is really concerning to me on the Leadership newspaper, says here, 240 colleagues die yearly over poor living conditions. This is as a result of why they're asking for welfare improvement. 240, that's a lot to be lost in our university system.
If an agreement was reached in 2009, compare the number of years to the time we are now, this is 2025, and then whatever agreement you've reached at the time, which was not honored, then you can imagine, even if it was honored, it means that it's still for review. The current Minister of Education under the Tinubu administration has been doing a whole lot, not just because one of the things that they brought on is the embargo on the creation of federal universities and state universities.
That's
so
right.
that
For now.
The existing ones will be well taken care of. All the budgetary allocations for education
can be handled.
So in terms of staff remuneration, ASU, SANU, we mentioned all of the academic staff unions.
A lot of numbers.
They would be able to address this because the president had promised, I do not want any strike under my own administration. So I want to strongly believe that they are working on this. Protest started yesterday. We do not want it to lead to or degenerate into
and if they are working on it,
as well as having them to go on strike. So we do not want that to be done.
If they are working on it, I want to state it here that they need to work on it fast. It's something that needs to be done swiftly. It's not something that we should sit and even wait for this strike to continue for more days. Because this time around, ASU is not joking.
Rhea, let's talk politics, and that's on the Punch newspaper this morning. This PDP ticket zoning. The headline here says the North has been split. I'm trying to wonder how.
Me too. When I saw it, I say how. Because knew how.
Isn't it just political strategy?
And but when it comes to the PDP, I think the North has even contested. We saw Atiku. How many times did Atiku contest?
Which is what happened the last general election, where they were saying we need to go to the South, and they said no. And this is see what they got.
And I tell you something, with this PDP, it will take only God. I was saying yesterday that there will still be a lot of problem because I feel like within them there's not even understanding. Within them there's a strong power also that we do not even understand. If you look at it, if I'm correct, I think about 3 times we've had for the North contest for presidency under PDP. So now you wonder that let it go to the South. And I think this is what Wike has been saying for a period of time, that people have been saying no. But at the end of the day, PDP is not just for the North. Not like I'm supporting anybody here, but I think there should be other chances.
I think for the North,
let me just add this so you can pick out. I saw a story somewhere that says PDP regrets fielding Atiku in 2023. This was quoting Abamoro.
These people.
yes, they would say that because not everyone supported the fact that Atiku was able to pick the ticket, you know, in 2023 to run as president in 2023, a whole lot of people did not support it. But, you know, some who are his supporters said, you know, it was the right thing to have been done.
Yeah.
But the fact that it has been zoned to the south, you know, acceding to major clamors by some people from within the party doesn't mean that some people within the north will not, you know, kick, because they said that the APC administration under President Muhammad Buhari, you know, who was a North, I mean, yes, who was a northerner, you know, spent 8 years, and then they only had a go for, let's say, 2.5 years or thereabouts, where because they had Umar Musa Aradwa, who died, and then Goodluck Ebele Jonathan took over
6 years.
did another term, and then much more. So they felt we've been shortchanged. So we need power to move back to the north, or we should have a northern candidate rather than having a southern candidate, you know, for the coming election. So no way, there will always be a rancor. If it had gone back to the north, you still have some people kicking from the south.
A lot of people.
But one thing is that they should try to assuage all warring parties, you know, all disgruntled members, that listen, this is the reason we've done this. At least at the end of the day, it's for the better of the party.
They need to
and the
fix
nation.
their house, actually.
We need to add some speed to this now. Ria, let's go to Osun State. You know, you've talked about this a few times on the table right here. Osun is taking the federal government to court over withheld local government allocations.
Nelson, the other day we were speaking about the fact that look at the amount of money that is getting to the states. And what is happening to the local government? And this is not the first time Osun has been crying for this. Every time we speak about this, I'll speak about the fact that the governor has also been paying, you know, from his pocket, because the local governments, they are suffering in that area. And I think this is not the first time they've taken the local government to court. So I don't know what, taking, you know, this issue to the court. So I really don't know what is happening, why they do not want this local government to have their own in their hand. You cannot be passing, Nelson, you want to give me money, you pass to Ibrahim when I'm sitting down here. No. Why do I feel, what makes me feel like Ibrahim will not take some before he gives me? So
I won't take some. If it's money, I won't take some.
I know. No, just giving an example, basically.
It did. But Ibrahim, there's something on the platform Times I'd like us to chime on before we move on now. Benue Assembly, you know, suspends ex-speaker over alleged plot against Governor Alia. We saw that, you know, yesterday, and I was wondering, he had already stepped down at first as a speaker, right? And then he's a member of the House, and then all of a sudden he was told, "Okay, leave completely."
Politics.
Yeah, so I think based on the story, he actually called a meeting among some people, and then got signature of those who attended, and they now use this signature to say that these are the people that have agreed to impeach the incumbent governor, Pastor Alia, that it should be impeached. And they're like,
Reverend Father
Alia, yes. So why would you do this? Why would you do, you know, these are the questions that started coming up, you know, at the State House of Assembly. So they had to suspend him for 6 months. I mean, I feel, you know, if you wanted to do something, you should have told them. Well, I don't know how they're going to resolve it, but if you wanted something, you should have told them, this is exactly what I want to do. But you know, politicians, they are very highly optimistic, and whenever they want to do something,
they're always
yes,
very optimistic.
I can go it alone or go it my own way.
And let's talk about this sad incident that happened yesterday in Abuja, along Abuja-Kaduna, you know, expressway. We see right here 6 injured as passengers scrambled for safety. Outrage over hold of rail corridor and fresh safety fears persist. We saw the videos of that train derailing off the tracks. When I've traveled that route maybe 10 or more times. Not actually by train, but on the road. I've seen those train tracks. But from the video I saw yesterday, it didn't look quite in order. Yeah. I'm assuming, could that be the reason why the train derailed?
We do not know, because there is this investigation going on there.
No official statement.
Yeah, it is not the first time the train cabins have traveled, you know, along that track. Some people are suspecting that it could also have been as a result of maybe breach or result of vandalization by all these babambola. Maybe because we've had, you know, stories of them, you know, stealing these rail tracks and all of that. And it could also be infrastructural problem. We can't say maintenance. When did the train, you know, starts, you know, operation? Yeah. So we should just give them that benefit of the doubt for them to do their investigation, whatever they come out of it. But people are jumping, people are utilizing the train service. just run away from insecurity, road accidents, and all of that. But now, if they are having this kind of experience, you know, from the trains, how do people now move? Because those who can't fly, they will have.
But Nelson, I agree with you, because what I saw didn't really look good, and I wonder what is going on. And if we have something like a train system, we know train accidents are the worst ever, like really scary. I'm wondering why even these things are not being checked. You know, I'm wondering if they are really going there, checking the safety and everything, or it's when something happens, they now go to it. That is my worry about this whole thing. But
and I totally agree with that.
Ibrahim said, let's keep our fingers crossed to see what happens. But I think that more can be done, knowing that how dangerous it can be. I don't want to say I'm happy that nobody died, but at least 6 people were injured. It's just so sad. We're injured and scared.
They had their hearts in their mouth. You know,
it shouldn't be that way.
We didn't sit here to talk about people who have died.
And we see that on the Guardian newspaper. Look at the rider here. It says, poses over security contract to what you just said now. Maintenance after 188th train derailment in 6 years. In other words,
that's huge.
This is not the first time it is happening. This is not the first time at all. And
the maintenance culture for it is not so good.
I tell you something else. Even when we do something in Nigeria, I'm always worried, like, can it stand the test of time? How will it be maintained? We mentioned this Babambola. What are we doing against the Babambola? Because in one way or the other, they will always be there. But what are we doing to make sure that they do not vandalize this?
Well, Ibrahim, let's talk security. And we see here, that is on the Daily Times, NSA hands over 128 rescued kidnapped victims to Zamfara government. I don't understand. Is the NSA supposed to do that to a state government?
No, National Security Advisor, you know, of course, he wasn't the one that went, you know, into the bush to rescue them. It's of course, the Nigerian Army, and then in collaboration with, you know, all of the security agencies. And then it's ceremonial. He had to present, because they are the citizens.
Chief security officers.
Yes, and then they are residents of the state. You know, so returning them to the government to ensure that they are taken care of, they're taken to the hospital. You know, even you saw some young girls who had already given birth. You know, some gave birth while they were in captivity. But my worry is, you know, these bandits, I call them terrorists. I don't even call them bandits. You know, what they're doing to us, what they are doing to our people in the north and in some other regions of the country, you know, is so much. But we're happy with the gains of the, you know, defense headquarters and the security, you know, agencies, you know, as a whole. That they should sustain this, you know, onslaught on this terrorist. They should ensure that no one is left unsaved, you know, from the den of this people. But I'm also worried about what is known as Stockholm syndrome, because some people would definitely be having affinity, you know, towards
and Ibrahim, even when these girls come back, some of them they've already built their life around it. Some of them have given birth, you know, like you were saying. For me, it's really scary, and I feel like when it comes to security, we need to tackle it fully. We don't need to be even hearing stories like this. They've returned them. They did return them in one piece. How are they? Like, emotionally, those people need serious therapy.
Indeed, and that's exactly the same thing too the Blueprint newspaper is talking about. But the NSA is saying there is no hiding place any longer for criminals or terrorists in Nigeria.
I agree with you, but it should not just be about words. Actions. We are seeing actions, but we need to see more actions. There should not be any hiding place for any terrorist or any bandit.
Or else we'll shoot them.
Nelson, I did not say it on TV.
And finally, to the Sporting Live this morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Do we have our man?
No, we don't have him nowhere on the paper today. But we see Nwabali right here, you know, one of Nigeria's best goalkeeper ever. He's been injured, and, you know, we see him here being stretched out of the pitch, you know. Should we pray for him now?
Of course,
certainly. Nwabali is a fantastic goalkeeper. You know, he's been saving us. You know, for against our enemies on the pitch. You know, but not enemies of the world. But and at the same time, Shell is also, you know, facing some anxious exits because he's saying that some do not want him. He might want to leave and all of that. So we do not know what's going to happen. But we need to present formidable fronts, you know, against, you know, some of these other countries, especially Rwanda, South Africa, you know, mention them. So what we want to see is the Super Eagles doing
back
so
on
well.
their feet.
Yeah, back on their feet.
We are trying.
I'm definitely praying for him because he saved a lot of goals. I don't want to say for us, for Nigeria. So he needs to be healthy and strong.
What came to my head? I'm trying to look at you in the football pitch, keeping the goalpost.
I'll save Nigeria. Me, I used to be a radical player. It's just because I love journalism. That's why.
She's just kidding. But that's how far we can take you in the
A
newspaper
radical player,
review.
she'll pick the ball with her hand and throw it into the net.
Indeed. That's how far we can take you in the newspaper review segment this morning. A new era of cooperation as Tinubu and Lula da Silva meets to discuss bilateral relations. Stay with us for this conversation after the break.